All rise. The United States District Court, District of Minnesota is now in session. The Honorable Leo I. Brisboy presiding.
Please be seated. Welcome. Today we convene a very special session of the United States District Court for the District of Minnesota. The session is intended for a very important purpose, that is to hear the motion of the United Citizenship and Immigration Service to extend American citizenship to 301 deserving applicants. It's indeed an honor and a pleasure for me as a member of this court to be able to preside over this most exciting yet solemn of occasions. The ceremony and proceedings for which we gather here today justifiably bring with it great joy and excitement as our applicants are coming to the end of their road as mere travelers, thanks to their individual hard work, dedication, and preparation. But our purpose for being here today should also bring with it great introspection of the importance and intrinsic meaning of these proceedings and what it means for the lives and futures of all concerned as each of these applicants start down their new road as honored citizens, with all the privileges, rights, and obligations that go along with citizenship. To start our ceremony, we would like to welcome the St. Louis Park Fire Department Honor Guard as they post the colors. Please be seated. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Honorable Jake Spano, Mayor of the City of St. Louis Park. Mayor Spano was first elected as an at-large member of the council for the City of St. Louis Park in 2012. He was elected mayor in 2016 and re-elected mayor in 2020. Mayor Spano.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you, Judge. I am Jake Spano. I am the mayor of St. Louis Park, Minnesota. On behalf of the city and the 50,000 people who call this city home, we thank the judge and the U.S. District Court for the honor of hosting this event today. This isn't the first time that we've done this. In fact, we hosted a very similar ceremony in 2017 in this same building. And as I have said many times since then, it was one of the most moving and powerful events I have ever witnessed as mayor. And I'm honored that we get to spend this day together and share this special moment with all of you. To see all of you here from nations around the globe choosing to join your neighbors in our American experiment is really inspirational. And as I finish my last term as mayor of my city, I have been reflecting on the power of community and choice. You see, my wife and I did not grow up in this city. I grew up in Kansas, and she grew up in Duluth. And we could have gone anywhere and started our family and put down roots, but we chose this community in part because it had a reputation of being a community that was doing amazing things and willing to take on tough stuff. Things like affordable housing and greater equity in our educational system and climate action, to name a few. And of course, the hard things are the things that are worth doing, right? Not just because of them, the goals that they are themselves, but because they test us and they motivate us and they bring us together. Because as President Kennedy said in his famous speech, doing the hard things serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. But I don't need to tell all of you about doing hard things. You all have been through some tough stuff. You've earned your American identity through your hard work and your sacrifice, which is unique from your soon-to-be fellow Americans like me who were born with citizenship. But in some small way, we share something in common. Each of us, in our own ways, have chosen the places and the people that we will call home and surround ourselves with. Now, thankfully for me, choosing to live in St. Louis Park didn't require filling out the N-400 form, the N-648 form, the interviews, the travel, and all of those other requirements that all of you had to go through. But our government, for all of its strengths and its weaknesses, is of the people. And while I'm sure you have been serving your communities already, now you will have new opportunities to shape your new home through voting and running for office. I know that for myself, and I'm sure for many of you as well, serving others has helped to bring greater meaning and purpose to my life. And so I encourage you to serve as a volunteer on a local board or commission or a nonprofit in your community, or perhaps by running for office. Selfishly, I will confess that serving my neighbors as their mayor I have gotten far more out of it than I have ever expected. Because for any of us, whether at our job, as a parent, coaching a sports team, or whatever we do in the world, all we really want to know is that we matter. That we positively impacted someone's life in some way, that our presence here made something just a little bit better for others. And I want you all to know that you matter. Through your journey here, your sacrifices, your talents, our country, our city, and our neighborhoods are better because of all of you. And I'm so pleased that you chose America as the place to call your home. And who knows, perhaps one of you someday will be standing up as mayor of your city, welcoming another group of 300 or 400 new Americans into your community. And so, in closing, on behalf of the City Council, all of my neighbors here in St. Louis Park, I want to say welcome and congratulations on your decision to become U.S. citizens. I'm Jake Spano, the mayor of St. Louis Park, and I am honored to call you all my fellow Americans. Thank you.
The following 62 nations are represented by our applicants here today. I'd like to call out the names of each of these countries just to demonstrate what a true crossroads our nation is. Argentina, Australia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Bhutan, Bolivia, Dominican Republic, France, Germany, Guatemala, Guyana, Iran, Kosovo, Moldova, New Zealand, Sierra Leone, South Korea, Spain, Sri Lanka, Sudan, Tanzania, Togo, Trinidad and Tobago, Turkey, Venezuela, Bangladesh, Brazil, Colombia, Congo, Egypt, Ireland, Jamaica, Pakistan, Thailand, the Gambia, the United Kingdom, Chile, Eritrea, Ghana, Jordan, Nepal, Russia, El Salvador, Honduras, Ukraine, Canada, People's Republic of China, Cameroon, Nigeria, Cambodia, Ecuador, Kenya, Philippines, Burma, India, Iraq, Laos, Mexico, Vietnam, Liberia, Ethiopia, and Somalia. At this time, I'd like to call on Lead Immigration Officer Ms. Kendry Castillo for the purposes of making the necessary motions. Officer Castillo.
Your Honor, if it pleases the court, the government recommends the oath of allegiance be administered to 300 applicants for naturalization who have been interviewed and whose applications have been approved. They are permanent residents of the United States and have resided within the Minneapolis-St. Paul, Minnesota district for the required 3-month period. They are persons of good moral character who are attached to the principles of the Constitution and form of government of the United States. The government recommends that the court administer the oath of allegiance as required by the law so that the applicants may be admitted to citizenship and that the name changes requested and the petition be granted.
As a member of this court, it is indeed my honor and privilege to say the motions are granted. Will all of the applicants for citizenship please rise and raise your right hand? Please repeat after me. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by law, that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by law, that I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by law. And I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Congratulations. Please be seated. I want to thank all of you for allowing me to be a part of your naturalization ceremony today. I want to thank you for the examples each of you have set by working so hard to achieve United States citizenship, because it's your efforts and achievements which serve to remind me and all natural-born citizens of this country just how fortunate we all should feel by being Americans. For the vast overwhelming majority of our nation's population, citizenship comes easily simply by having been born here. And perhaps because of that, not having ever lived under any other form of government in any of our lifetimes, we sometimes take the privileges and liberties of citizenship a little bit for granted. Your achievements today serve to remind all of us that we should not and cannot take our special status as citizens of this country for granted. Because with the exception of Native Americans indigenous to this continent, the history of every American family starts with someone who first had the desire, the determination, and the courage to immigrate to this country in search of the liberties and opportunities which are its promise. It's thus up to each of us who are already citizens, just as it will be up to your future descendants, to honor those who have come before us by how we now live our lives and serve our neighbors and communities, as we exercise the rights bestowed upon each of us as citizens of this nation. By your achievements today, you have each earned the rights and liberties that go with being an American. But along with those rights and liberties come important obligations as well. Our nation's Constitution begins with the phrase, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union." That phrase, it's only 15 words, but I believe that those 15 words embody the very heart of what it means to be and what our responsibilities are as citizens of this nation. We, the people. From out of these words, a community has worked and continues to work together to build a nation of laws, not a dictator. A nation where the governed themselves govern through the use of a ballot rather than through the use of a bullet. A nation where no one, not even a president, is above the law, and where disputes among neighbors are resolved and public safety is maintained peaceably with due process of law through public trials conducted before a jury of one's peers. And a nation where each of us contributes to the fabric of our society, each in our own individual way, but each for the common and collective purpose as is also set forth in the Constitution, to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. In order to form a more perfect union. These words reflect and recognize that the promise and potential of these United States has been and remains a work in progress, one to which we must all fully, constantly dedicate ourselves and our ongoing efforts. The history of our nation so far is one made up of a great many wondrous achievements, to be sure. But that same history also contains instances of when we as a nation have failed to live up to the spirit and promise of the Declaration of Independence as found in the words, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights." But even in those sadder parts of our nation's history, millions of citizens before us have suffered, strived, persevered, and worked tirelessly not only to maintain the good that had been achieved, but more importantly to correct then present failings and to work to improve and reform our nation into yet a more perfect union. An ever more perfect union where everyone, regardless of race, religion, orientation, gender, ethnicity, country of origin, or economic status, could realize equal justice and therefore equal opportunity under law. That important work does and must continue, and that requires from all of the citizens of the United States, which now includes each of you, that they constantly seek to become informed and knowledgeable about the facts and not just the partisan and political rhetoric that underscore the public policy and political debates of the day. And in doing so, make up their own minds on where they stand on the issues, while at the same time being open to engaging in a peaceful and respectful dialogue on those matters with those of their neighbors who may be of a different view than their own, but who equally love their country. That they work to be tolerant and respectful of the rich variety that is evident among all the people of this nation. That they should resist and reject efforts to promote fear about diversity, but rather see diversity as strengths and resources of this country just waiting to be even more fully tapped. That they follow the law, but be willing to seek to peaceably change the law if they believe that it needs changing. That they strive to give some of their time in the service of others, to be engaged members of their community, state, and nation by volunteering, helping neighbors in times of need, and gladly performing jury service whenever called upon. That they pay their taxes, which are collected for use in support of the greater good and common welfare, being ever mindful that there are yet millions of others around the world who would gladly do so, if only they, like you, could someday publicly declare their own oath of allegiance to this nation. That they should seek out public office on any level if they have a desire to do so. That they should willingly answer their nation's call whenever it may come, whether in times of war or peace. But most importantly, as Mayor Spano said, they should vote. The exercise of the right to elect one's local, state, and national representatives is the single most obligation of every citizen. Here in Minnesota, our neighbors demonstrate that they understand this solemn obligation of citizenship when they regularly lead the nation in the percentage and level of voter turnout, general election after general election. By your oaths of allegiance today, you now belong to a partnership of equals. Each of you are now among those encompassed within the phrase, "We the people." And I trust and I know that each of you will fully do your part to help with the ever ongoing work and effort to even yet form a more perfect union. I commend each of you, I applaud you, and I wish all of you every success as you leave here today to take your well-earned and well-deserved place among those who, when asked from where they come, are able to proudly proclaim, "I am an American." We have all heard, read, or recited in different venues over many years the Pledge of Allegiance. But in light of this ceremony and the oath that has been taken today by these 301 fine individuals, I think it's unique. It might be uniquely poignant to have that oath stated today. And I would invite all of us who are already citizens to join in that oath in order to remind us of how fortunate we are to have been born in this nation or previously naturalized. I would like to invite to the podium to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance the Honorable David Douglas. He's District Director of Field Operations in Kansas City. He's responsible for supervising the citizenship and immigration services for the District of Minnesota, among others. Director Douglas began his federal service in 1992 with the Border Patrol in California. He went into the CSC in 1995 and has moved up through the ranks through years, culminating in his current position here in the Kansas City C32 district, which he assumed in 2019 as the Field Operations Director. Director Douglas.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I will lead you all in the Pledge of Allegiance in just a moment, but the judge said I could take a couple of minutes to say a few things, and it's cool enough I feel I can safely do that, so if you'll indulge me. I just wanted to say congratulations on behalf of our agency director, Urja Du, and the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, and me. Congratulations to each of you on your achievement today. You'll see on every coin and on every piece of currency minted in the United States the motto of our country, E pluribus unum. And that's Latin. I don't speak Latin, but I've been told that phrase means out of many, one. And originally, it was intended to address the different states coming together to form a new country, the United States. But I like to look at it in context of an event like this as well. Out of many different nations, which share different languages, cultures, foods, beliefs, religions, we all come together to become Americans on an event like today. So when you see E pluribus unum in the future, I hope you'll think of today, remembering that out of all these different disparate cultures and languages and nations all around the world, we've all come together to be one people, one community. And speaking of your community, I can think of nothing more iconic than being naturalized on a venue that plays ice hockey. That's pretty much Minnesota in a nutshell. So congratulations. Best of luck to you in your new lives as Americans. And now if I can have everyone stand. Place your right hand over your heart and ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. You may be seated.
Before we conclude our ceremony today, I'd like to take a moment to recognize and thank everyone who's helped us in participating today. I'd like to thank the City of St. Louis Park and the Mayor, Mr. Jake Spano. I'd like to thank the Citizenship and Immigration Service, the Officer Kendry Castillo, District Director David Douglas, and the other members of the office who have assisted in providing support for today's ceremony. United States District Court Public Information Officer, Ms. Rebecca Parks, the St. Louis Park Honor Guard for posting, Fire Department Honor Guard for posting the colors, my law clerk, Ms. Bridget Nunez Figueroa, the State Department, Social Security Office, and the League of Minnesota Voters. With the court's heartfelt congratulations and best wishes to you all, and with, I know, the warm and joyful welcoming regards of your neighbors here in the state of Minnesota and our nation, my final congratulations to you all, and we stand adjourned.